Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to today's community conversation. Today, we're going to be talking all about how to build an inclusive classroom with Microsoft Flip. My name is Ann Cosma, and I am one of the educator innovation leads here at Microsoft Flip. I've been teaching for over 20 years. I describe my job as a teacher helping teachers. I spent a lot of time teaching first grade. I was a K-8 innovation coach, and I'm so excited now to help you get new insights for how you can use Flip to build an inclusive classroom. I'm also super excited to welcome some incredible guests today to talk all about inclusion and how we can support all of our learners. Plus, we're going to be sharing ideas for how you can use Flip with your community. In just a moment, we're going to meet our guests, Dr. Mary Alice Curran and Ms. Elizabeth Polo. Both are phenomenal folks working in different ways to support and empower every learner and learners of all ages. And of course, friends, we'd love for you to be part of this conversation. Use the chat, share. We want to hear your aha moments, your insights, your ideas. Definitely feel free to get connected with us on social and be sure to tag us at Microsoft Flip and tag our guests too. You'll be able to find our socials on the ticker below. All right, friends, are you ready? Let's get started. Let's meet our guests, and we're going to start with Dr. Mary Alice Curran.
Yay! Hello. Okay, Ann, thanks so much. And I can't wait for you to introduce Elizabeth. Being to be here right now in the moment with Elizabeth is really extra special for me. It adds another layer. But, for a quick introduction, I'm Mary Alice Curran. I'm the founder for the Digital Citizenship Institute. We work with school communities around the world where we create time and space to create learning experiences where the entire school community comes and learns with students. And that focus on how to use tech for good. So today, that focus around inclusive and accessible classrooms and school communities is near and dear to my heart. And the last thing for an intro is I am a very proud untraditional learner. And what the Flip platform and community has done has transformed me as a learner and as an educator.
Oh, Mary Alice, I adore you. Let's get you back on screen, friend. So it has been an absolute honor. I've known you for years. Your passion, not only for digital citizenship, but making an impact. And that DigCit Institute, I know that you're creating those incredible experiences, and you talk about with hand, heart, and mind. And I absolutely love you, friend. I love you. I'm so honored to have you here today.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, let's meet our next guest. I'm so excited to welcome Ms. Elizabeth Polo. Hello, tell us about you.
Hey now, it's your favorite friend and amiga. It's me, Elizabeth Polo, a proud Awesome Sauce first grade educator here in the state of Florida in the United States. I am also the professional development growth leader and department chairperson. And I'm super honored and excited to be here today and bring the energy. So show some love in the chat to have this inclusive and amazing Awesome Sauce conversation with these mega stars, with Ann and Mary Alice and Team Flip. Thank you for having me here today. Thank you, friends, for joining us. I see you out there. I see my familia. I see my amigos and amigas, and thank you for being here. And a special shout out to my school community. Also, I see you, familia. I see students and parents and colleagues and administrators and counselors and everyone here today. Thank you for having me here in this time. And I would just like to give you a special shout out to begin. So let's give ourselves a high five. Put 5 fingers up. And take the other 5 fingers and you say high five. And that's how you give yourself a high five. So thank you for being here today, friends. And thank you for having me here today, especially with Anne and Mary Alice, two of my favorites, and Team Flip. Thank you.
I love
Okay,
that.
I love that.
I know. And I was ready to go like this. So, everybody out there, a high five and a high five. We are so glad you're here. And Elizabeth, you and I just got to meet in real life for the first time this past June. Your enthusiasm for learning is so positive, and I know that you are so passionate about helping all students find their voice. You grew up and now are teaching in the same community, Miami-Dade, South Florida. And both of you have been recognized in these incredible ways. Mary Alice recently as one of the top 30 EdTech K-12 IT influencers. Elizabeth, top 60 dedicated teacher global award winner. So both of you, like, I know that you are so passionate about inclusion, accessibility, and making learning available for everybody. So I have a ton of questions. I'm ready to jump in and want to know first, as we get going, if you could tell us a little bit about your passion for inclusive and accessible classrooms. And Mary Alice, why don't you kick it off?
Okay, I just have to say, for being inclusive, let's just like have a moment, because I feel like I'm with my sister from another mister with the same look. In fact, Anne, when you're ready to let it go and become a silver fox, we're going to welcome you into the club of silver foxes and sparkle. But I am telling you, what, like, if things are not accessible, right? Like that idea of inclusion, once it's inclusive, it's inclusive for everyone, right? Like, it's not just something that we need to do for, you know, a certain student or individual. This is something collectively that we need to do and practice every single day. And it's in our classrooms, it's at home, it's at work, it's at play. And if things aren't accessible, then I'm not going to have access for that type of learning experience. So this is like paramount. So when we're thinking about, you know, kicking off a new school year, building that community for that new school year, I am a massive fan of Flip. I look at specifically, I know we're going to get into this, but immersive reader. I am an untraditional learner. I'm proud. I'm dyslexic. It ends up being my superpower. But if I had the opportunity to learn in a platform like Flip, it would have been made such a significant difference as a learner. But now I still have that opportunity because I always consider myself a learner first and foremost. And that's what we really need to do. So for joining us today, just have this willingness and this disposition, right? You don't have to be an expert in any of that tech. You just have to be willing and excited and curious. That's it. That's a magic formula.
Oh my gosh, that's the best formula. Thank you, Mary Alice. Elizabeth, I'd love to hear your insights.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And that was great, Mary Alice. Thank you for sharing your story and your passion. I would also like to share my quick story. And I would like to give a special shout out to my grandmother, my abuela, who came and migrated from the country of Cuba over here to the United States to give me and my family the opportunity that we have today. And so as a result, I was raised in a home where Spanish was my first language. So there I am, not an English speaking student in a classroom where it took up to third grade for this a beautiful and amazing educator named Mrs. Pepper to come and see me as a student. Before that, I was forgotten. I was in the back, not included. I was made fun of. No one understood me. And all I wanted to do was just have a little piece of love and learning. And it wasn't until third grade that Mrs. Pepper saw me. And it's so funny that her name is Mrs. Pepper. I didn't know what the word pepper is in English at that time. And when lo and behold, when I found out later, it's seasoning. And I said, she is a seasoning that I needed to bring out that sparkle, that joy, that passion, that inclusivity in me as a student who just wanted to learn and wanted to be seen and heard. And so with that, her taking the time to teach me and my grandmother the basic skills that we needed in order to be included and to understand and to make the path of where I am today, to me, that is special. So Mrs. Pepper, lots of hugs and kisses to you wherever you may be. Because of her, I am here today, along with my grandmother, who is able to magnify that moment and to have me included and to have the resources that we had at that time. Of course, we didn't have Flip, but that was only 4 years ago, so it wasn't too long ago. But anywho, so if I would have had Flip, it would have made a world of a difference. But that's okay. It's here now, and I am just cultivated by that experience to be able to give and to have it, that opportunity for my students and my family. So special shout out to Flip as well. Thank you.
Estoy muy emocionada y mil gracias para todos maestros y maestras y maestra Pepper, y escuchan y celebrar cada voz en el mundo. Sí, yo hablo solamente poquito español, but I love hearing that, Elizabeth and Mary Alice. Thank you both for sharing a little bit about your story and your passion for this topic. Y'all have fans in the chat already. The Silver Fox and Sparkles. I love these comments. And of course, Jornay, nails it with, when we put inclusive and accessible practices first, it benefits us all. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And let's go into some accessibility discussion. So I'm curious about the way you might use Flip's accessibility features to create inclusive environments in your school, your classroom, your community. Maybe this is a particular feature. Mary Alice, you said immersive reader, there's all kinds of stuff. So Elizabeth, I'd love to hear. Why don't you kick this part off?
Well, like you said, there's a whole bunch of pieces here. And so immersive reader, definitely top number one on my list, because we can have so many languages on there and be able to experience and have the student make that connection, because it's about making that connection, giving that empowerment and taking it from there. Besides the language, pointing out different parts of speech, having the line of focus where students can be able to engage and stay focused on that, especially our beginning readers. I also love the ASL feature. I don't know too much. I know the basic to defend myself. So with that, when that came on, I was like, wow, this is amazing for our students who may need that assistance in the flip lens with ASL. I really also love the teleprompter. I'm a visual person. So boom, I put it on there and it gives me my whole script to be able to make my video or my presentation be more engaging. So that's another great feature to help with our students. And talk about writing and spelling and grammar. There it is. The music, of course, the closed captioning. I love that feature as well. And having students be able to put titles, so we can go ahead and include that in our lesson and be able to know what it is with our little ones. And then they get all excited when they see this big closed caption pop up and it's their name or whatever feature that they added and so forth. Of course, we have to have a little bit of música. So I love that as well. And the stickers, I know I'm going to say this word wrong, but that's my East one. That's okay. So the GIFs, or is it GIFs or GIFs? To me, it's GIFs. So the GIFs are always fun. So I include that as well on there. And so those are just some of the many amazing features that Flip has for our students. And I just learned about one yesterday that I want to try it out. And it's about the students being able to generate their transcripts and uploading it to the video. So how amazing is that? I mean, that's a truly awesome sauce. I would love, I'm excited to try out that feature this school year with my new little ones.
Oh my gosh, Elizabeth, I love this. And I love this comment right here. Our friend Ms. P. Diddy 14, immersive reader, ASL features, teleprompter, good for visuals, yes. And we love that you're taking notes, because those are so many great features. And yep, the war, GIF or GIF? I say GIF. Mary Alice, what do you say?
I say GIF. But I'm dyslexic, so it could be GIF.
Oh my gosh. Well, continue. Let us know like some of the ways you use these accessibility features. Elizabeth shared a great rundown of so many powerful things. How are you using these features to support an inclusive learning environment?
Okay, well, in my intro, I talked about I am, an untraditional learner. Well, my husband happens to be deaf. Okay. And that very first webinar. So I'm really proud. I'm proud that I was an early adopter, early in the game with Flip. And I remember joining that very first webinar and Charlie talking about this is for every voice. And the story that he shared was about a deaf classroom. And I remember crying. And I've told this story and I probably sound like a broken record, but that's the moment I knew that what you all are doing is different and it's important and it's necessary. And I'm a massive fan. I want to be a part of it. So I do love that immersive reader. I know that Elizabeth talked for all the different reasons, but when we think about different languages, like let's even think as we get ready for this new school year and welcoming that this isn't just learning in the classroom. Like here is an opportunity to, use Flip in a really meaningful and authentic way. As like an intergenerational approach. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is it's not just learning that happens in the classroom, it's what happens at home, at play, at work. And so we invite, like the work that I love to do is we invite the outside community to come and learn with students. But Flip has that opportunity, right? And that immersive reader for being so accessible that we can include our parents, our caregivers, our grandparents to be actively involved with this learning process. And then the immersive reader would have changed everything for me when I was K-12, like guaranteed. I can't speak highly enough about how that just changes the whole landscape. It levels the playing field. But being married to my husband, looking at anything with those alt text or the closed captions, like I feel like when the pandemic hit, this is the most important, and closed captions, whether you are deaf, hard of hearing, there's some sort of hearing loss, like those closed captions are necessary to invite and to include and to make sure that, content as content creators, our content is accessible. But what another wonderful way to add that extra layer while we're for early readers as well, to add those features. So there are so many ways that from the very beginning, right? From the very beginning when it was still Flipgrid, and you've continued to build very significantly features that are inclusive and that are accessible and that invite all types of learners, no matter what language you speak, no matter how young or old you are. And that is the best part. And so for this school year, if anything, for joining this webinar, please get more involved with this incredible community that is so welcoming and so inclusive.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And it's so powerful for me to hear about, every impact or every possibility that our community shares. And Mary Alice, you just made a great point that this community is the loudest, raddest, most passionate community on the planet. And I know you've been around as an OG since the early days of Flipgrid. And as we call ourselves Flip now, both of you, are sharing truly game-changing possibilities for how these tools can really make conversations, learning, and connections inclusive in so many ways. It's so powerful to me. It's not lost on me. I have to ask about a favorite way. I know you've talked about these different tools, but do you have a favorite way that you've used Flip to ensure that every student feels valued or feels included? And Mary Alice, why don't you kick this one off and we'll just ping pong back and forth and let's all stay on for this one.
This is the part where I'm really proud that I'm joining Elizabeth today because in April, we put on our Global Student Showcase. And every day during the month of April, we were showcasing and celebrating young people who use technology for good, literally around the world. And what we did was we changed it into a webinar series so that we met people where they are, so their time zone. So our team woke up early or went to bed late, and it was just this incredible celebration. And this is the first time I've never met Elizabeth in person, but she kept showing up to celebrate young people using tech for good. And the one thing that I want to share is Jaritza and her global cultural exchange. And we got to celebrate that. And if I know that I'll share the link to that YouTube where we got that celebration in April. But what Jaritza is doing with that global cultural exchange, it makes my heart want to bust, like the Grinch in the movie where he gets to a point and he says his heart grew 10 sizes. That's exactly how I felt. And when we got to celebrate that global cultural exchange, it was with a classroom, a high school classroom in California, Alfredo Silva. And talk about that need for intergenerational. There was some cooking parts, and there was like this involvement with grandparents and parents. It was like all ages. We are all learners. And so I have tons, because I could go on and on, because as an OG, my beginnings was as a mother and son when my son was in elementary school. But like for the most current, it's really what we got to celebrate this past April.
It's incredible. And yeah, massive shout out. Jaritza Vijalba, one of our awesome friends, colleagues, just a global innovator and thought leader. We shared the link to that YouTube channel in the chat. So folks who are curious, definitely get connected, because these global cultural conversations that are happening are a beautiful and inclusive way connecting classrooms and learners around the world. I love it. Elizabeth, let us know. Do you have like a favorite story or a moment that's touched you? I'd love to hear it.
Of course, thank you. And yes, friends, please join the loudest, most awesome sauce community ever. Because together, just like we're having this conversation today, we are definitely better together. So we continue to empower and learn together so we can grow and be able to go ahead and make that difference in our world. So one little, maybe 2 or 3 little side stories, I'll make them quick. So the first impact that I had with Flipgrid at that time was I had a selective mute student in class. And there was no way that this student was very super smart, amazing individual. I love her, but she would not respond verbally. Everything was written. And then when Flip came out, I introduced it to the class, so forth. And she produced the most amazing video I have ever seen. This little individual, this little megastar, sang with her heart and soul, and she has such a beautiful voice. I have it saved, and it just gives me inspiration to continue to empower the world. So having her sing and stand up in front of the camera and do her performance and dance, by the way, she just magnified that moment. And that is when I knew the power of this resource was tremendously awesome sauce at that moment. So from there, we just took off, and I started learning and empowering together, asking questions, contacting Team Flip. By the way, you can contact them at any time, and they'll respond, even at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, with that. And it was just truly, truly magnified. So from there, I go ahead and continue to cultivate that experience. So before school starts, I make the Flip group open and topic with my students. And then I go ahead and I put an about me tic-tac-toe, which I already posted on social if you'd like to get that. And they have to make a tic-tac-toe about me, so they can talk about their favorite class pet or their favorite music. Or one of my favorites is, are you a sunny, cloudy, or thunderstorm person? And they explain themselves. So I already get to know who they are before they walk in the door. In conjunction, I post a different topic where students can't see it because it's a surprise for them, where I include the families, and families are encouraged to go ahead and post a video, a little welcome encouragement. I'm proud of you. You're amazing. Any special message they would like to give to the little one is posted. And at the end of our first week of school, I share it, and the gleam on their faces, it is hilarious and so impactful. When they see themselves on the camera and then we make a big deal out of it, I'll give them a little cool tag saying they're a megastar, and they get autographs and so forth and things like that. So it's just to empower that voice to make that connection. And definitely that global impact is truly amazing. In my school, we have the beautiful honor to be able to tie international curriculum to our studies. And my students get to experience the culture out in Africa and vice versa. So we make that connection to be able to empower ourselves and each other, and to manifest their own narrative, and then go home and make that connection with their families and say, look, I shared this, I did this, I learned that. And that is truly, truly impactful. Along with talent shows that we've had on Flip, that was really good. That's a grabbing popcorn type of movement there. And also, and one special one that I always do at the end of my first grade year, those students make a video to my new incoming students on how to tie their shoes. And then, of course, I teach them songs and things, so forth, how to tie their shoes. But when they see another peer, and then they see that student down the hallway, wow, they make that connection. And guess what? They learn how to tie their shoes from their peers. So everybody wins with this little assignment, thanks to Flip. So ta-da!
I love that. I love that. These stories are so powerful and poignant. And folks who are listening in or catching this on the future on a replay, I hope that just hearing from others has sparked new ideas or insights that you can take. Former first grade teacher. So the tying shoe videos, brilliant, and how fun to make it from your friends. But you've both shared just these incredible impacts of inclusion, support with accessibility features. And folks, if you're new to Flip listening in, I'm going to get into those accessibility features in just a moment for a really quick PD insights, but I have to ask one final question before you go. And so this is going to be like a quick rapid response prediction into the future. Looking ahead, what do you envision for the future of inclusive education? Perhaps it's a role, how Flip's accessibility features can transform teaching and learning, but let's make a prediction. The future is inclusive, and I'd love to hear any final thoughts you both have.
100% it's inclusive. It needs to be accessible, and it doesn't just have to happen in your classroom. Like this, I mean, our focus was talking about how to build an inclusive classroom. Well, let's build inclusive school communities and have that ripple effect. Because, you know, once you do something, I think about skipping stones and that ripple. And once you put something out there really positive that's happening in the classroom, it ripples to home, play, work, involves at all ages. I just love it. That's what I keep doing that.
I love it.
Definitely, Mary Alice, and shout out to you and to your team, because that series was truly impactful. I highly suggest for everybody to go watch it, because the impact of not only technology, but the global connection, the inclusivity, the creativity, the empowerment, the manifestation, where students are to own their own stories and share that narrative, is truly, truly impactful. As far as the future, I think it would be super awesome sauce if there was an AI way to make an AI Miss Polo on Flip so the students can see it. And even better, make an AI person out of themselves on the video. Or what if we all had an AI Anne? Interesting. And how about, just one little side note here, how about having automatically populated on the side of your screen the American Sign Language interpreter, who is able to interpret the message in sign language to the viewers? Food for thought. I can't wait to see what happens next.
I
This
love
is my
that.
wow. W, and then my mouth is the O. Wow. I
love that. Yep. Oh, wow. Listen, Tanya says it so beautifully. This panel is puro corazón. So nothing. Feli always says, todo con amor, all of the love, straight from the heart. Elizabeth, thank you for this comment. Everybody wins. This is the beautiful thing about inclusion. Everybody wins, right? So, friends, I cannot even begin to say thank you enough. If y'all are on social, give these two a follow. Here are their handles in much bigger font. So definitely get connected with them. But it's been an absolute joy to have you both. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for sharing your time and your insights. And again, folks, give them a follow. So I am not ready to say goodbye yet. I'm going to share a few PD tips with the folks, but Mary Alice and Elizabeth, thank you. I appreciate your time, your
insight. I miss you already.
Your ideas. Thank you, friends. Thank you. And this, Mary Alice, tell everybody what this
means. This is the I, this is the L, and this is the Y. But this is the R. So this is, I really love you.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you both for being here. It means so much. And I know you've made an impact. Folks are saying all of these ideas. Thank you. Thank you to the community. Folks, stick around. I'm going to share a few insights. So again, Elizabeth and, oh my gosh, Mary Alice, I just appreciate you so much. So
right back at
folks,
you.
We'll see you out there. And folks still listening in, if you're curious about how you can use Flip, I want to point out a few quick ideas and some of those accessibility features that they've mentioned, and you can get some insights, a quick visual of how you can use this in your classroom. So they mentioned learning ASL. We have a great picture right here showing you, we have an ASL sticker pack inside the Flip camera. So when you click on stickers, definitely scroll and find that sticker pack. But also, there's an augmented lens. If you haven't used lenses inside Flip yet, definitely click on that little smiley face to learn ASL. What a beautiful way to learn American Sign Language inside of Flip. Some of those other awesome features mentioned, closed captions. So yes, you can absolutely set your target language for your closed captions. But did you know your students can edit their own captions? So if they need to, they can edit it and simply click on the captions and edit or add captions. Additionally, folks can actually generate their own transcript. And so underneath the edit button is the add button, and they can add that button. Yeah, JB, if you go back one picture, that other one, folks, will show you. The next picture, JB, shows the edit step 1, add or generate if needed to, but all of these are included inside of Flip. And then the last thing I'm going to touch on real quick as we start to wrap up is that immersive reader. When you see that icon of the book and the speaker, friends, the immersive reader is a Microsoft learning tool fully embedded throughout Flip, and originally intended to support folks with dyslexia or dysgraphia, but from reading preferences and grammar preferences, and even a picture dictionary and a translation feature as well. So you can translate the text to your preferred language. Those are just beautiful, inclusive ways built into Flip that you can support your community. Of course, Flip can zoom up to 200%, keyboard navigation. Your screen reader integrations work with Flip. You have the option to toggle on or off audio. And in the words of Liz Maddie, who is our accessibility champion on the team, you design for one, but you extend it to all. And we hope that this session has given you so many great insights and ideas for how you can build an inclusive classroom with Flip. And of course, friends, we love to say the conversation that starts today does not have to end today. So we want to invite you to even more inspiring conversations coming up as we have these events and conversations all week long, all summer long, and into the new school year. Next week, our community conversation is all about leveling up your teaching with Flip and Microsoft EDU. So head to aka.ms/Flip events. And keep the conversation going. We have a great global group of educators at flip.com/thinkit, flip it, and you can join the conversation or learn from your friends around the world. And wow, what an amazing conversation. My head and my heart are like overflowing. I hope it's been meaningful for you. I want to say thank you again to our incredible guests, Dr. Mary Alice Curran and Ms. Elizabeth Polo. Thank you for sharing your insights, your expertise. No doubt folks around the world have the great insights. Oh my, again, just a quick thank you from friends around the world, literally tuning in. Thank you, thank you, thank you all. And Mary Jones, wow, that's how I feel too. So if you're catching this on replay in the future, let us know about your aha moments or your takeaways. And friends, that's it. That's it. I'm your host, Ann Cosman, on behalf of Flip and our two friends here. We want to say thank you for spending your time with us. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for all you do to empower every voice in your learning community with Flip. We'll see you next time.